Hello. So up till now we have worked with the static page. It was on two-tier application. Therefore, we built only one image and one Docker was running. It wasn't communicating between one Docker container to another Docker container. In this example, we are going to build two-tier application. We have application and its database, and we'll see how two Dockers communicate to each other. And later we'll realize the importance of Docker Compose and how easy the life will become with the Docker Compose. As of now, what we are going to do, create a volume, and that volume will be used by database, and then that database will be used by our application. So let's begin. So I'm creating a Docker volume wall. So this is a volume which will be used by database. Before we start, I'll show you my application which I'm going to use. This is my Flask application, and this is Flask to do app what we have, and I'm just going to clone this one. Git clone. Right now we don't have any image, is and there's no container up and running. And even I'll show you the volume which we have created right now. So there should be a one volume which will be used by MySQL in our example. So I'll go into the Flask application. What we have, this is our Flask application. So we'll go to cd app and we'll see the Docker file. This is a Docker file to create the Flask image. So first we'll run the MySQL image Docker MySQL. So I'm going to use this particular image MySQL in my example. Docker run MySQL -db -p 3306:3306. That's the port mapping. Then I'm going to use the volume which I have created, my wall, and it is going to map var log of MySQL, and then I'll declare the environment. I'll copy paste from here. My secret password. Then I'll tell the database MySQL database. For this app, I have hard coded, so it is to do app, and for this database, we are going to have a user MyDB, and for this user, I'm going to have a password. And I'm going to run MySQL 5.7. So since this image was not present here, it will first fetch the image and in detach mode it will spin up that image. So we'll have one container which is MySQL, and its port 3306 is pointing to 3306. If I want to connect to this database, I can perform MySQL command hyphen host. So for this container, I'll see what is the IP. Docker inspect host, and then we'll say the user is going to be MyDB, and going to provide the password, and the port we are going to use is 3306. Yeah. So before we do MySQL command, I need to install the MySQL client. Now I'll try to connect to the database, and password is password in here, and I could able to log into database, and I can see show databases databases. So I have to do a database already existing. So this is how we can check the connectivity with the database, but still our app is not up and running. So we can see in here we have only database up and running. To build the app, we have this docker file, and this docker file will create an image. So I'm going to build this file. It is located in our app. So I'll run docker run build e web 1.0, and the file is in app and then dot. So I'm going to build this image. So it will do the installation to run this Flask application, and we have this image up and running. So now this new container, which is web app, has to talk to MySQL. To do that, there's a link command. So I'll run docker run name web. I'm going to use 5789 port, 5789. Going to link with MySQL DB, and volume is going to be, I'm going to map my current directory to USR local, what I have specified here, SCR app, USR SCR app, SRC app. Then once I gave the volume name, I gave this, then I'll specify the image, and I want, yeah, image. I'll not run in a detached mode, so web 01 1.0 python web.py. So I'll run this application. Now my application is up and running. So in here, I can check this port is been exposed to this, and in this application, I'm going to use if config to validate the IP. Yeah, this is the IP, and it is going to be accessed by 5789. So if we'll see, I'm connected to this particular container A138, and to access my to-do app, which is accessing a MySQL application, I have a ending slash to-do, and I can create a app like shopping, purchase soup. Here I can go for sell the car. I can edit this one. Instead of soup, I can say momo. I can perform the delete operation. So these are two-tier application. Let's take an example. If the environment keeps on growing, first of all, it will be difficult to track, and if there are more containers, it will be difficult to track, and secondly, it will be difficult to ensure that for easy comprehension we have to docker compose. And the beauty of docker compose, it creates the separate network for each and every separate compose up. Whenever we build up the docker compose, it brings up a different network, so it provides a complete separate isolation and takes away a lot of burden of ensuring that there should not be any contradiction and there should not be any problem. And it saves us from linking all these container, which we can easily forget when we are working with a lot of containers. So this is an example why it's a hard work to do with a simple CLI and difficult to track. So going further, we'll see how to build the Docker Compose, and then how to use Docker Compose. Thank you.